hand over to you, Daniel.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. I think even our guests tonight are all over the globe. Today, we're having a global connect for achieving CTA. So even though all these folks know each other, they're all over the world. So I think it's a pretty cool story. We'll find more about how they were able to do CTA from around the world and help each other out and things like that. I am not a CTA, but I'm an aspiring CTA. So hopefully I have the perspective of many of you on the call who are looking to find out the magic answers on how to achieve this goal. Today, we've got 4 CTAs with us. Jitendra Zha, Mo Salem, Ram Singh, Waruna Buwaneka. Hopefully I said it right. If I didn't, please correct me when you introduce yourself. So really excited to have these 4 folks here with us. And when I go through introductions, also please tell me what time of day it is where you're at so we can all have appreciation for these folks joining us. If I know you're on mute, but if you're familiar in Zoom, if you can give everybody a round of applause, give our guests a round of applause for being here today through Zoom. Would really appreciate it. These folks, their time is super valuable. Really appreciate them sharing their secrets to success with us today. Thank you so much for being here. So to start this off, I want to just kind of get an introduction from everybody. So tell me your typical introduction, your name, what your role is, where you're located, time of day, maybe a little bit about your background. But let's not get into the CTA journey just yet. Let's just start with a background from everybody. So I'm just going to go right down the list, starting with Jitendra.
Yes, thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Amit. You all can hear me okay, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. And again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. As per your time zone, I know we have a global audience here. So my name is Jitendra Jha. I am an associate partner right now in IBM. And in terms of my background, I have been in Salesforce ecosystem since 2008. And I'm working mostly on enterprise level projects. Right now, I'm a Salesforce MVP. And a few years back, when I was a developer, I also wrote a book about Apex design patterns. And I do have my blog, I do have my YouTube, and I'm just hoping for this session. Let's see how I can help to all of you. That's all. Mo?
Hey, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Mo Salem. I'm a director in Deloitte Digital here down under in Australia. It is 12 a.m. Here, but I'm still awake. I just got a dose of coffee so that I can survive it. Can't wait to have this conversation today with Daniel and all of you. In terms of my background, I have been doing software engineering and architecture for the last 2 decades. And half of this was in the Salesforce ecosystem, doing everything architecture and development, and trying to deliver value and resolve problems through solution architecture experience. I don't know who's next. Maybe Waruna or Ram?
Yeah. I'll go next. So hi, this is Ram Babu Singh. I live in London. So it's here 3 p.m. today, right now. In terms of my experience, I have got total 10 years of experience, and all total are there in Salesforce only. I started my career as Salesforce developer, and from last few years, I've been doing architect role. Currently, I am with Deloitte UK as manager. Varuna, how about you?
Hi, I'm Varuna Buwaneka. So I live in Atlanta, Georgia, but today I'm calling from Nashville, Tennessee. My background is I've been with Capgemini for some time. I'm a director, and I work on large-scale Salesforce project. And my background is I have experience for like 18 years around CRM projects. So initially I did a lot of Siebel projects and later on moved to Salesforce. Thank you for inviting me for this to be part of this discussion, and hope to learn from each and every one of you and share my experience as well.
Great. Thanks for the intros. So first CTA question here, getting into it. So what does it mean to you to be a CTA, and why did you want to be a CTA? I'm going to go ahead and change up the order a little bit. Let's go reverse. So or maybe just random order. Let's start with Mo.
CTA is, I think, is a fun journey for me. So I see it as a learning journey where you can meet all smart people and deep dive to the highest extent into the Salesforce ecosystem. And it is actually a good credential that is recognized by the ecosystem and every customer, every professional doing Salesforce. Why I wanted to become a CTA, because at the start of my Salesforce journey, I did meet with a few certified technical architects, the early days ones, and I was pretty excited with the experiences and the insights that they bring to every conversation, and that made me look at that journey and put together a plan, started it until the end. Until I get this credential. I consider also Salesforce Certified Technical Architect one of the very unique credential in the software architecture space.
For sure. Jitendra, what does CTA mean to you? Why did you want to be a CTA?
Yes. So if you ask me this question a few years back, right, I will say CTA was everything for me from the last 4 or 5 years in my life. And little bit overlaps to what Mo has explained. I have also met so many awesome professionals in my life in Salesforce ecosystem. Few of them were CTA, and I was amazed, not really only on the basis of the knowledge that they have, but the way they communicate, the way they articulate, and that way they have a long vision. So when I was like technical lead or the senior developer at that time, I will only focus on one area. But CTA, when you come, okay, you bring the value to the client, right? You really try to solve the problem which client may not have. So that's the one aspect, definitely. Second aspect, being a Salesforce ecosystem, we know that is the certificate that's highest, that is the pinnacle. And it's not only the multi-choice question. The fun part about it is it tests all of your knowledge. It tests how you're in the time management, how easily can you solve some solution, some problem in a definitive time, like 3 hours. How do you present it? How do you defend it? So this is a really fun challenge to solve. And definitely badge is important, but the pressure you go through, the journey you go through, that really is a worth. That's really the value, and that is really the main reason I would anyone say that if you are going on the CTA, just ready for that one, you will enjoy it. So I enjoyed my whole CTA journey.
Thanks. Let's do Ram next.
Yeah, so there are so many overlapping answers already, Jitendra and Mo had covered. But yeah, again, for me, I guess I'm a very competent person and I wanted to remain competitive. And this one is at the top of Salesforce. That was again on my agenda from last couple of years. And also, whenever I was doing the project, there were a couple of architects, different architects, but not in all projects you get chance to, you don't get exposed to almost everything in what Salesforce has to offer, like in terms of data management and all the different stuff. You do different projects and that's how you learn it. But if you go through this journey, you will be exposed to so many different persons who will ask you a number of different questions that you will have to defend. And that gives you confidence, So now I have no fear. I can go and talk to anyone because I know that I can defend myself. At least I have got that confidence. So I think that was really, really important for me and I really enjoyed it.
Okay, same question for you, Aruna. What does CTA mean to you, and why did you want to be a CTA?
Yeah, let me try not to repeat. So for me, it was a big challenge. So I mean, as somebody said, it's a peak of the certifications. So my goal was to, I can take the challenge and achieve success. So I want to go ahead with the journey. And also another important thing is as you go along the journey, as you learn a lot of new things, you also get to meet a lot of smart other people. Like, in this audience, there are 3 CTAs right there. So I met them. We have very good, friendship, relationship. So it's another benefit you get at the end of the journey. So that was my intention.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask some questions individually here to some of you folks, but I would encourage you, on our panel, if you want to sort of add a comment to somebody's answer, feel free. Don't feel like only the person I'm calling on can answer, but the person I'm calling on is going to be the kind of the base of the discussion. So I wanted to ask Ram about his CTA preparation journey. What did that look like?
Well, I was a developer in my initial journey, in my initial career. But after 5 years of development, I took the architect role when I joined Deloitte, UK, in London. Gradually, I completed all my domain certs in 2018, January itself. And after that, I wanted to go for CTA. But soon after doing my domain certs, I attended a 601 course, and where I learned that I need to do a lot more to go for the journey. I made several study plans after that, along with the work, but I was not very consistent that time because I was traveling. I was going to different countries almost every week. It was very, very tough for me. But I was studying. I made plans, but I was not very committed that time. So that was the thing. But when the pandemic started last year, and all the traveling stopped, and that's the time I realized that I can do something. I made plans, and I also formed a study group at my company. We started doing mock presentations, Q&A. That went for a while, but suddenly people started dropping. They were not as committed. But one of the friend at that time told me about some few community groups. One of the group was Vanilla group. They were doing regular mock-ups over there, so I joined that group and I met all of these guys, Jitendra, Varuna, over there in that group. And that's how we formed a group, and we started studying together, and we did that for almost 1 year, almost on every day, so we remained focused. We challenged each other to the max. And yeah, so we did so many mocks together. We have done numerous study sessions together, and we all said different. We all are in different time zones, but we still found time, to catch up daily, to present everyone daily. So that's how it worked. But that remained. The main part was that it was there regular. There was a commitment and consistency from everyone, and that worked in everyone's favor. And here we are, and all of us are CTA now. So
I think that's unique. Having all 4 of you helping each other. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about that while we're on the topic. I don't know if you want to answer, Ram, or somebody else wants to chime in. Can you talk a little more about how you kind of arrived at this group?
Yeah, I'm happy to go.
Yeah, go ahead.
You, Ram? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we in the Benelux group was one of the group where I took one of the I was one of the judges for Jitendra in one of the mocks, and he didn't know about me. I guess I don't know whether he knew, but yeah. Well, later on, I had seen a couple of mocks from Varuna also in that group. I had never judged him, but I have seen his presentation. So we kind of knew everyone's name. And somehow we knew that everyone is presenting and everyone had kind of same timelines, like maybe the similar timelines in which they are going for the CTA board. So we connected through friends of friend, and we asked everyone if they wanted to form a group, small group, only 4 of us. Even though we were in different time zone, we were ready to do this and we were ready to commit time. And we maintained for 6-7 months, and it worked. Mo, would you add something?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I was a fan of the videos that actually Jitendra record on YouTube. He's an MVP and he was helping the community a lot. And a few things I was learning in Salesforce was actually from the videos that he posted. But in terms of the architecture journey or the CTA journey, I was connected first with Varuna, and he was of I think he's the most organized person in 4 of us. He was the guy who always put us in a charge in challenge on daily basis and group us and was the most accountable person to connect us all the time. So he was the first person to reach out to each one of us until we grouped together with the same motivation and started that journey.
Yeah, I know when you talk about the journey, a lot of thing that comes up often is like, are you ready for it this year? Do you want to put it off till next year? You know, maybe it's something you consider for several years, many years. And it's interesting to see how you all aligned to decide to do it now at the same time. Did the pandemic have much to do with that? Was that one of the factors that kind of made you all decide to do it at this time? Or is it more just random all over the board?
I can take that. Yeah, so we all had a similar like in the goal when we were going to take the exam, and on the pandemic it helped us because it gives more stay at home and do study compared to traveling every day. So if not for the pandemic, we would have gone on vacations or on holidays. But this time we got more time to study, and that helped us.
Awesome. And also in your group, I heard a little bit, you said Rawuno's the kind of the organizer. Were there any other different roles that emerged within your group? Or was it pretty much just those two roles, everybody helping each other and then the organizer?
Yeah, I can take that question. So yeah, first of all, yeah, Mo is right. Varuna was the key in our group because he was definitely an organizer and he was keeping everybody on the edge. Okay, it's very easy to get lost in your life, professional life, personal life. Okay, it's very easy to get lose the touch and interest. But he will always ask a question. He will force you, right? Hey, this is the question. How would you solve it? Now, in terms of role, I think everybody had the same and equal role. And again, in that case, we do study together, we do mock together, and during the mocks, we knew that who is strong in which area. So, for an example, Mo is extremely strong, I will say, in user experience storytelling. Varuna was very strong, I will say, in single sign-on stuff. Ram was very strong on the Apex and all those stuff. So we knew who is strong, where we need more brush ups, right? So we just help each other. We know that okay, this is the question we have, who is gonna help? And let's say we four don't know the answer, then we all four will investigate. And now instead of one answer at the end of the window or 2 day, we will have a four answer. Then we all will get together. We again all compare. It's always good to have the more answer than compare to one answer, and then we will compare. And that indirectly we were also practicing defending the solution. Now the solution is coming from the four direction. Let's say who can defend better. So in terms of role, I will say we all four played the same role, but kind of the orchestration and the management that happened by Varuna.
Got it. And obviously it worked. Would you recommend this as kind of, if you're going to put together a study group, would you recommend kind of giving somebody that role of an organizer? Or is there a better role that you might recommend or better structure?
So when you say in work, Daniel, you're talking about the project or just the internal CTA group?
The CTA group.
Yes, definitely. I would recommend that one role. You need someone in your group who is keeping you on edge and who is sending. So basically, it's very easy. Hey, we are going to meet tomorrow 6 p.m. and 6 p.m. is already done. Oh, we don't have an invite. Okay, let's skip it. Let's meet tomorrow. But if you get the invite on your calendar, now you have to force. You have to rearrange everything around that, and you have to join that meeting. So I will say that is very important role. You need to have someone who is responsible for making sure everybody is getting connected.
Great. Yeah, that's a great lesson there. Okay, so Varuna, as kind of this a little bit of a lead role or organizer role, obviously this is a big time commitment. Can you talk a little bit about the sacrifices you had to make, things you had to give up in order to achieve this?
Yeah, so this journey does require a lot of time to study and be prepared for the exam. So there are two type of commitments. One from your time point of view, and also there's the cost, right? You have to spend some money on the exam or getting a coaching program. So you have to look at both aspects. In terms of time, since it's going to take your time that would have spent with your family and so on, you have to make sure that your employer and also your family is aware of those commitments, right? Because you're going to take a journey, and that means you're a bit more focused on studying compared to spending time with your family and so on, other activities. So it's important you get to support from your family or your spouse or kids, and also your work employer as well, to make sure they are aligned with your goal, and then they're going to help you to reach that goal. So.
Does anybody have any more to add about kind of sacrifices, compromises you had to make?
Yeah, I mean,
I had
yeah, Mo, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Jed.
Yeah, so yeah, if someone is starting with the journey, I think one mindset everybody has to have to think about it. It's not a short journey. It's a long journey. You may not have your weekends at all. You will not have your evenings. You will not have your morning. And the most importantly, I will say, in all four of us, our family sacrificed a lot. Okay, wife, kids, right? We are locked in a room for more than 18 hours, 20 hours, for more than 6 to 8 months. So that is something I will say. If you ask me the one word for the sacrifice, I will say it's a combined sacrifice, your sacrifice plus family sacrifice. Yeah, Mo, go ahead.
Spot on, Jitendra, I guess. Yes, family, definitely. Wife and kids. I have two boys. And the fun part, I think, that I would add to what the guy said here is it has been a few months now until since I cleared the board, and I'm still actioning the backlog that has been in the wait list for a year by my two sons and my wife, and the backlog is still long. So be prepared to give back at the end of that journey from the commitment the family that gives you during the journey, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we've got four of you from all over the world here: US, UK, Australia. Was there any actually advantage or possibly disadvantage? Hoping advantage to having this global study group. I'll throw the question out to whoever answers first.
Happy to take that one, and you guys add to it as you want. So look, it was very easy, as you can see, to connect. The guys keep me awake until very late night. So just kidding, definitely. It was actually the other way around. So to be honest, it's not easy. It wasn't easy in the beginning. We are in different time zones, but Waruna and Jitendra from the States, and Ram from the UK, and here down under is a complete different time zone. But we had this famous 5 p.m., 6 p.m. EST equals to 7 a.m., 8 a.m. in Australia, and that is at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. in the UK, and where we had a consistency that on daily basis, almost on daily basis, we connect and have some sort of studies that can include mock scenarios that we design, discuss a few design options for different requirements in mock scenarios and stuff like that. But it wasn't easy in the beginning. But as you can see, like over months and months, it worked. And the motivation that we had, each one of us, and why we wanted to achieve that credential, and what is behind or the rationale behind us wanted to achieve that is what gives the power and make you consistently available for study because you wanted to achieve that credential. What is actually one of the key things actually also in the group that made us made it easy on us to have that sort of arrangement across the different time zones is the different experiences that each one of us has had in his experiences. As Jitendra mentioned, each one of us had different experience, not only from the different components of the platform, but also the different regional experience that we have had. When you speak, say, as an example from the state side, you always have this large volume experiences because the customer base is much larger than what it is in Australia. While, say, for example, in Australia, the data residency always a challenge, given the data center is newly came, say, for example, in Australia, and most of customers in the beginning try to challenge and think of what data residency or where the data will reside and how this comply with the requirements and stuff like that. So it reflects how the different experiences in different areas can reflect and bring different insights into the studies and the challenges in different business requirements or different domains of that certification. I think the last thing I would add here is as you can see, the power of a four and the synergies that can comes from such a team and going together towards one goal is what make one of the highest pushes as well. And having accountable person like Waruna, which I really appreciate the efforts that he made to put us together all the time, made it easier on us to easily connect. As I said, it was almost on a daily basis. If you guys want to add to this, please go ahead.
Yeah, Mo, very good answer. And just to add on that one, right? One of the another advantage of the global is in the States, before sleeping, I put a question on our group, and by the morning I wake up, Mo has answers there, and it's the other way around. That's a huge benefit. And just to add one more point, right? The regional experience really helps. Like data residency from Australia and GDP are from UK, okay, and Europe side. So those are the few factors that will always be beneficial. The last thing I will add is getting the group is not easy. Okay. To me and Varuna, we both studied together like what I say, 8 or 9 months before we got Mo and Ram in our group. Okay. So if you're thinking that you're starting your CTA career right now and tomorrow you can get the group, I will say it will take time. Okay. Because synergy has to match, right? Your thinking, your thought process, your timing, your dedication, your consistency, all have to match between your all group members. So yeah, that's just to add that one. Varuna, Ram, do you want to add anything here?
No, I think you covered almost everything.
Yeah, maybe just to follow up. So imagine if you had to study for this individually by yourself. Some people have done this. Can you tell me like the biggest advantage of being in a group versus studying individually? Just like your top answer.
I think individual. I will not say individually is not impossible. The only thing in individually, I will say, in my opinion, is who is keeping you motivated. That's all to me at the end. Okay, that's all I will say. The only one word for me is a motivation.
Yeah, and also for me, well, because I did studying, that study individually also for a couple of months. But the thing is, you reach the ceiling very fast because you have your own limits, right? If somebody is not challenging you, you are not exposed to multiple different types of audience, you will know what is happening outside. You will not be able to get different perspective. So having a study group is really, really beneficial. Someone who can challenge you, someone who can, give you a hard time multiple times, because that's how you will go and think differently and come back again. Because what we were doing, that we were solving the same scenarios, and we all had different solution. The data model was different, integration pattern we had used different, and we were challenging each other that why they have made that particular decision, and that really helped, that getting the thought process for the same solution, it really, really helped.
And just to add, like different people have different weaknesses in different areas, right? So if you have a team, you can learn from others and make sure you're well-rounded. So teamwork always helps. Study together.
Awesome. Makes sense. Okay, this question I'm going to pose to Ram, but feel free if anyone else wants to chime in. Can you name something that you don't want to do on your CTA journey, something to look out for? So like if you find yourself doing this, stop and pivot.
Yeah, one thing which I have experienced, and I guess that never walk alone. That you need to have a people who can challenge you. I think that is really key. It doesn't mean that you cannot achieve alone, but if you are having a same people, kind of people who are having the same goal, that will definitely help. And also don't underestimate the time it requires. That it requires a lot. The commitment and consistency from you is very much required here. So don't underestimate that. And also, I have seen that many people after doing the domain, they just want to rush for the exam. I wanted to do the same back in 2018, but that will not work, And we have limited mock scenarios available at the moment publicly. And doing only those mock scenarios and thinking that I'm ready is also not possible. Doing the same mock scenarios again and again, presenting different group of audience, you will get the flavor, that what is the different perspective. So, and also don't doing hands-on. I know that so many people have asked me question that do I need to be hands-on? Do I need to be a developer? Do I need to be an admin? There is no single answer, but the thing is you need to do hands-on so that you can see what is happening in the system firsthand. If you will configure systems like sharing, single sign-on, auth, it will definitely help. So doing those things hands-on is also important. Without that, it would be difficult, in my opinion.
Anyone else have anything to add there? Things not to do, things to look out for?
Yes, I will say, just to add to the Ram's point, I will say, don't get overwhelmed by so many products that Salesforce has to offer, right? Nobody knows everything. I mean, this is one of the biggest challenge, right? When you are starting, hey, should I be a very good in CPQ? Should I be very good in FSL? Definitely, you have to be good in core, Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Experience Cloud. Those are the core. That's the depth of the knowledge. But now you need to have the breadth of the knowledge. You need to know the data model, you need to know the product, and you need to know the capability. You really no need to go in extremely detail. Otherwise, your journey will never finish. I mean, that's my opinion.
Makes sense. So just to transition to that. So we talked about what not to do. I'll pose to Waruna. So what do you recommend for people that want to start this process now?
Yeah, Daniel. So I think first thing is, as I said before, make sure your family and employees aware of the commitment that you to make in the journey. So make sure that you get the support initially, and also do your self-assessment. Just understand what are your weakness areas that you have to learn and be more knowledgeable, because you have to do your own self-assessment. And also, make sure it's a long journey. Have a target, like end date when you're going to reach there, and have like a plan, like a daily plan. What are the things you're going to be covering? And it's just not a one-time study. You have to repeat the same topic over and over again until you memorize certain things. So it's as a journey. So make sure you're aware of it. And the last thing is, form a group that have people that have the same commitment, same target dates, so you can all work together to achieve that dream.
Great. Can I get everybody's opinion on a realistic time frame? We know it's a big commitment. We heard some numbers thrown around for hours, but let's say maybe a range of time. So maybe how many hours per day or something over course of months for like maybe a mid-level person, because a junior person probably shouldn't even be attempting to study for this right away. But let's say like a mid-level maybe versus like a senior person, kind of that range of time commitment.
Yeah, I'll take that. For me, I guess I studied for 4 or 5 hours minimum almost every day for 12 months. That's what I did. But over the weekends also I was doing, I guess, 12, 15 hours. That's what the commitment I had. I think it was needed. As for me, it was needed because I had to remember lots of different things, and also doing the scenarios. So many scenarios, writing your own scenarios, doing, and again, it took time for me. And in my projects also, I didn't have exposure of almost everything. So where I didn't have exposure, I had to do things myself. So it took time. So on an average, I can say that it will take around 12 to 15 months. And if you're ready to commit time, at least 3 hours or 2 to 3 hours every day, um, it would be good. But you need to be consistent, and that's the main thing.
I think what I would add to what Ram mentioned, this is mostly on the knowledge part of it. So studying and going through different articles, trailheads, Jitendra videos, or Apex Hour videos, and similar videos for gaining as enough knowledge as possible. But I think again, everyone is different. In average, it could take you 6 months to a year if you are at a certain level and doing architecture on daily basis for a few years with your clients and in different engagements. But I don't think this is the only element to achieve that credential by studying and getting knowledge. It's also the projects you run, the needs from your customer, and the conversation you get into with your customers and clients that get you also into the real life experiences. I think since you start the journey, it's the entire probably 10, 12 hours, 8 of them is your working hours, where you actually need to make sure that every activity you do on daily basis adds something to you to your journey. Because if you are an architect and you're actioning as an architect every day, you will touch a governance piece, you'll touch a business requirement that has a challenge that relates to some of the components of the platforms, the capabilities of the platforms that takes you into the bridge challenge. Or you have a team of developers or a team of consultants that configure the platform, and it takes you into the depths as well. You may land into an Apex class or a workflow that is configured to meet a business requirement. So I think it takes you that much. It's not only the 2, 3, 4 hours or whatever. I'm not a good guy at studying or sitting down for 2, 3 hours to study, but I consider every hour, even during the working hour, is an hour that adds to that journey. But in average, I would say it will not take less than 6 months to a year if you are at a certain level and doing architecture on daily basis.
Does anybody feel, maybe ask the group, do you feel like you over prepared, or would you recommend to over prepare, or do you feel like you just studied enough to achieve the goal?
Yeah, Daniel, what I would say is I appeared in 2018 and I failed. Okay. And no shame in that. It's very hard to pass in the first attempt. So I will say, at least for me, I was kind of scared. Okay. If I under prepare again, I'm gonna waste my whole time. The one of the problem that I have seen is getting the CTA date is very tough. Okay. There's so many people are in the line and you get that one chance and then again you lose it. Okay. So to answer your question, right, that really depends, difference, right, individual by individual. Okay. For me, the biggest challenge was really storytelling. Okay. I think that I had a good hands-on experience, but I was not able to convey my messages. Okay. I still remember my mock days where everybody would hammering me, hey, what are you saying? Business experience. So yeah, that depends. Okay, few people are able to knock it in 500 hours overall, few like 700, 800 hours, right? So you can say we might have been over prepared, we don't know. Okay, but we didn't wanted to take any chances. Okay, and also the failing rate of the city was extremely high. Okay, so we of course see on the LinkedIn, okay, a lot of people are passing, but we don't know behind the scene how many people are failing, right? So that is something to consider.
I like that. You said you might have over prepared, but you don't know. Yeah, I guess it is hard to know. If when you pass, you wonder, hey, did I study too much? Don't want to cut it too close. So I think that over preparation is necessary sometimes to get enough confidence to not be too nervous when you're doing it, you know.
Yeah.
I think maybe we kind of already answered this, but does anybody else have any key learnings from the journey that they haven't mentioned yet that they want to share?
I'm happy to take that one. I think if I speak about the learnings, I probably can continue to speak for a week or something. It's lots of learning. But if I
Maybe,
if I think,
maybe more like a meta thing, like not a skill about, not a hard skill about CTA, but maybe something that you learned about the process. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. The first thing came to my mind when you asked that, Daniel, is how much I do appreciate those who get into that journey and become a Salesforce certified technical architect. From how challenging is that journey. So it is really a good learning that I didn't have before I get into it. So no one will know how challenging is this until you get into it. And I think the other few things I would mention here also, the ecosystem, the Salesforce ecosystem became really huge now, and you will really notice that as you get into, as I said, the context of that certification has the breadth side of things and the depth lens as well. So you will notice how the ecosystem is large. So Jitendra mentioned a few products that may take you, depends on the projects and the experiences that you get into, and you consider it a key in the certification or no. In my opinion, it is. In someone else's opinion, it is not. It's different. But what the key learning here is, I think the ecosystem is really large and huge, and it is a very good opportunity within that certification to cover very good or deep enough from the breadths and the depths of that platform. Uh, if you're planning to invest, so there are a few programs where you can invest and get also some coaching. I think it's worth investment. And that was like I thought of it few days, few weeks in the beginning. Does it work or no? And I was in doubt. I was hesitant a little bit, but at the end of that journey, it really was for me. Every investment you do, if it's an hour that you study, if it's a commitment that you do with the family or a program, coaching program that you get, as Waruna mentioned, to cover some gaps in your experiences or your knowledge and stuff like that, you definitely get into it. It is a journey that worth the investment because it makes you at the end of it a more efficient architect, or takes you from a good architect into an excellent architect, if that makes sense.
Awesome. Yeah, we only have about 5 minutes before we get into the audience questions. So I really want to get to this question. I'm curious, kind of what's next for all of you? What changed after getting CTA? What's the before and after look like for each one of you?
I'll take this. Well, so because in this journey we have learned a lot, and that we can use almost every day. Whenever we go to the client, we can see that now we can think, the bigger picture. We can see the long term. So we have become better at doing the same thing what we were doing earlier. We become more confident, and also this credentials gives you instant recognition, instant credibility. So whenever we go to a meeting room and somebody mentions that I'm a CTA or is a CTA, you get instant credibility. People listen to you, and that's the main difference I have been seeing after doing the CTA. And now because we have done this, so now and we have seen so many different things here. So now we want to help people as well. We want to mentor as many different architects as we can, if no matter if they're on the CTA journey or if they want to become better architect, we would be there for them. And on this note, I have an announcement to make today that we have also created, all four of us have created a website, CTA Gang of Four, and that we are going to launch today. That would be the place where we would like to collaborate with more and more people who would like to share their journey with us or would like to learn from us. So that would be the place that we are also thinking to do more and more by using that to the community.
Oh, thank you. That's awesome. Where can we get the website? Is it up now, or where will you be posting it?
Yeah, ctagof.com, ctagangof4.com is the domain that we have. It's up now. We are going to put more and more content over there. That's the place we would be using for giving back to the community, doing it mocks with the people, guiding people or coaching people who are on the same journey or who wants to become architect, who are on the path of becoming CTA, that would be the place for us. If you want to connect to any of us, so we have put our social media address over there that you can use to connect with us.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like the gang of four, you really came together through going through this shared difficult experience. You even got a name for your group now. So very cool. Anybody else have any kind of before or after? What's next now? Do you feel different after CTA? That kind of stuff.
I just
Happy
want
to go next.
to
Go ahead, Varuna, first.
Yeah, I was going to say the learning doesn't end when you are a CTA. It's even after certification, you still have the thirst or the eagerness to learn more and more things. And as Ram said, we want to give back as well what we learn. So it's a continuous process. Good, Mo.
Yeah, spot on, guys. As the guys mentioned, definitely anyone in the journey to become also or has aspiration to become a Salesforce certified architect need an input in that journey, a feedback on where he is or she is. We definitely happy to help, and that forums that Ram was talking about will have as much as we definitely can to give back to the community. But I think for me also, after becoming CTA and the impact that journey made on me, as I said, made me more efficient. I would be happy to help my customers and my team as well in also doing better in resolving problems or share as much experience as I gain from that journey to make an impact in their journey as well.
Okay, should we get into audience questions? A lot of them have been answered already, so I'll try to find the ones that haven't. I see one from Paul. It came through, towards the beginning of the presentation. Question is, do CTAs get to be on product review groups, beta exam designs, things like that?
Yes, I think I answered that question. So yeah, that's not something magic the CTAs get. And if you want to get involved in that program, I think anybody can go there. You just have to be active in the community. Salesforce normally sends an email regarding the product research and everything. Just reply to them, enroll them, and you can get into that one. But you don't need to be a
Awesome.
CTA. You don't need to be CTA for that.
Yeah, I see you answered in chat. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't see the answer there. Awesome. Okay. This is near and dear to my heart from Ganesh. Does one need to be a hardcore developer to be CTA?
I'm happy. Go ahead, Ram.
Yeah. So it's the simple answer is that you don't need to be a developer. But the thing is, to achieve CTA, one of the things that is very mandatory here to achieve the system architect or application architect is platform one developer exam that you need to clear before you can write CTA exam. So if you have prepared for that, you would have gained enough knowledge to see at least the code, Apex code or LWC written code, to see what is happening in the code so that you would know different trigger patterns, why to write code in such a way, why to write trigger in such a way, how to implement the trigger framework. So you need to know those things. It doesn't mean that you should be able to write those things, but you should be able to at least debug, and you should be able to read the code, and you should be able to understand what is happening there, because one of the main responsibility of an architect sometimes is that you should be able to provide guidelines to your tech leads, that how should they write the trigger, how can they turn off, and turn on the data management, data validation, those things. So you need to know those kind of things. Yeah, I think that would be good enough. If you have some kind of hands-on, you have got so many Trailhead modules. Even if you have never done the coding, but if you can sign up on the Trailhead program, there are so many guided flows that you can follow and learn from that. It will definitely help. But you don't have to be a hardcore developer to get a CTA.
Okay, I think you sort of answered this, but maybe you can go into a little more detail. Is it possible to do a full-time job at the same time you're studying for your CTA?
All four of us have done the same, and nobody took the break apart from 1 or 2 weeks before the exam. We all have been doing the work from last 1.5 years, full-time job, and still did the CDA. So it is very much possible. Go ahead, Mo.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah,
say, when you have a full-time job, you still have to find the time to study. So which means either you wake up early, stay late night, or spend your weekend. So you still have to find the time along with your full-time job. So.
Did you need
Yeah,
to
and
do any compromise with your employers, or pretty much just business as usual?
I don't think it's a compromise as much. It's I don't know if any employer will not be happy to support a journey for an employee that aims to achieve this kind of credential. Definitely, it is. I know about people who had to take time off of work to prepare for that journey. But as I mentioned earlier, like again, it's not only about the study; it's also about the day-to-day experience. The architecture mindset is very important here, and you will become better architect as you use and practice the knowledge you gain in every domain and every component or any product or any capabilities that you face or know about from the Salesforce ecosystem. In my opinion, it's better to be in your job doing the architecture work. But as Varuna mentioned, and the guys also, you need to secure some time for study because the depths going deep in each and every component needs you to sit down in front of your iPad, in front of your machine, in front of your tablet, mobile, and keep reading, keep learning in every area in that platform.
Awesome. This question's pretty cool. It's very tactical. So how did you actually identify, you mentioned finding out your weak points, your knowledge gaps. What's a practical way to identify those knowledge gaps?
I can take that one. And that was a problem, little bit dilemma I also faced in my preparation. So I know that I have a 4 or 5 weakness or maybe 10-20 weakness. I think the best way to do it is do the mock. Okay, in front of an architect or someone is in a journey, or maybe in the CTA if you have a member, if you have a mentor, immediately you will know your gaps immediately. So what happened with me, each mock gave me 4 or 5 gaps. So every time I do the mock, even before my I will say 3 weeks before my CTA preparation, I will get few topics that, oh, Varuna asked this question, Mo asked that question, Ram asked that question, I didn't thought about that. So the best way is doing mocks. Mock will tell you how much gaps you have.
Awesome. And can you comment more about the mocks? Like, did you write your own mocks? Did you find them from resources online? I see some examples here, Ladies Be Architect and Johan Furman. Where do you come up with these mocks?
Yes, that's a good question. So definitely we have a lot of publicly available mock like Laptop to Schools, Greenhouse, etc., which is available from the Salesforce Architect group itself. Those are very good mocks. Other than that, definitely Ladies Be Architect has some mocks, and I think every company also have few mocks. Okay, so for an example, in IBM internally we have few mocks. Okay, I'm sure that Deloitte, Accenture, these companies also have mocks, and we write our mocks on top of that. Writing a mock is a very good experience. Okay, whatever the area you are in weak, just put it there. Okay, no need to solution it. When you're writing a mock, you're writing a question, you're writing a challenge. And not to forget Andrew Hart's website. Andrew Hart's website has around 6 to 7 mock already. Okay, so there's so many mocks available freely, right? Just go and pick one of them and present it.
Yeah, I'll add to that, okay, there are so many, of course, that will help. As many mocks as you do, those are really helpful. But sometimes doing the same mocks, especially from what you get from Salesforce, doing the same mocks again and again, gives you different perspective. If you have done one mock today, and after 1 month, if you're doing the same mock, you yourself will solve the problem in a different way, and presenting that to different sets of audience also is really helpful. So of course, doing your mocks are important, but don't forget that you can still have the 10 or 15 mocks. But if you have done that 45 times and mastered it, you would be a better architect first. I
And
think
just
that
to
will
add,
definitely help.
And just to add one more flavor, that what we did is we solved same mock multiple time with the challenge saying that, okay, we are going to use a CPQ, okay, or we are going to use FSL this time. So we have solved mock in multiple ways using different product just to see how the end solution would look like and how what kind of the challenging questions we will get. So that is a one way to do it.
Yeah, mock with additional constraints layered on. I like it. How about mindset, right? Like a lot of us, we have kind of an implementer's mindset, like developer, admin, we're building the things. But how do you switch mindset from that type of admin developer mindset to more creating solutions, creating architectures?
I think that is the biggest problem. Sorry, guys, I'm taking this one question. That is my challenge. That was my challenge. Okay, I coming from the developer background. If you ask me anything, my life is always black and white. Okay, is it in out of the box or it is a code? App exchange, configuration very rarely came into my mind. That's the problem one. And the problem two was the way a developer communicates, right? The way someone coming from that background communicates is completely different the way architect communicates, right? So I don't think I have exact right solution how I came over it, but I think, yeah, group helped me. I started presenting my solution to my BAs. Okay, very beginning, like 1 year, 2 years of BA. Now they are very good in the storytelling, okay, because they talk to the customer, they understand their language, they know a little bit storytelling. That would help you if you have a BA in your company or your group who are like 2, 3 years of experience. Explain your solution to them, and they will tell you, what are you saying? I'm not understanding anything. Now you have to repackage your thinking in a simple word. I think that is the one way I went for that one.
Wow, that's cool. Anyone else have an answer to that mindset change?
Yeah, it's go ahead, Ram.
So, yeah, so on to that, because I have been a developer as well in my journey. I have faced similar challenge what Jitendra says, that how to come out of that. I had a fear earlier that how if I will expose myself to the different audience and they will basically kill me. They will ask me so many questions which I will not be able to answer. Not in terms of technical thing, but how to present a different sets of audience, be it a business stakeholder, be it a technical stakeholder. So consider this, injecting this piece in your day-to-day life of work. Find opportunities in your program, in your project to present a simple solution, just like a talk. That if you want to make your voice heard, if you want to tell someone a solution that you have built, you should be able to communicate to every people, no matter whether they have a technical background or not. You should be able to convince them. You should be able to tell a story. And then you can get the feedback from them as well, whether they have understood or not. Because in my early days of career also, I was getting this feedback that I talk too technical, and when I was going to the product owner, they were not understanding what I was saying because I was talking in technical language, which they didn't know because they didn't know Salesforce. And then gradually they gave me this kind of feedback, and then gradually I had to switch and pick up different word for that, to make my voice heard, to tell a better story. And that gradually helped. And that's why having this architecture experience, presenting to different sets of audience, not only technical audience, different sets of audience will definitely help. No,
Awesome.
Yeah, spot on, guys. I think what I would add, like Aram and Jitendra covered a lot on this, I guess. But what I would add is, I think I would recommend you to book a tour in a helicopter, so that you see stuff from different angle, if that makes sense. So it really, yeah, don't get lost into details to develop your architecture mindset. This is what I try to say. So, and that could help if you book a tour in a helicopter. It will deliver the message. But I think again, in day-to-day basis and the challenges that you keep facing, you will develop your architecture mindset. This will include things like try to listen to the problem, try to understand the challenge behind the problem. And as you grow your knowledge and get more understanding of the different capabilities of the platform, you can then think of different options. And as the guy said, try to speak it simple, concise, and clear to the different audience. You may be talking to an IT manager, and the way you speak about the solution to an IT manager will be completely different than a business user. who speaks the business value and the solution that he expects is completely different than the complex arrows and protocols that an IT manager would expect, if that makes sense. And again, don't forget the helicopter tour. It will really help. I did it.
That's cool. Somebody asked a question about what's kind of the package you can expect. I think they're talking about like salary and stuff like that. I know it's kind of a delicate topic, but maybe there's a way in which you can phrase it. If it's like, can you expect a percentage increase for an architect role after you achieve CTA or something like that? Anything you can say about the compensation around CTA?
Shall I take that one?
Yes, Mo, go ahead.
Definitely, I would love my bank account to be much happier after achieving the becoming a CTA. So I don't think it is about that, to be honest. So definitely you become more valuable, and your customers, your employers will definitely appreciate you higher, and opportunities that will unlock or open up after you become a certified technical architect will be much larger. But I wouldn't definitely take it to how much percent or what an increase to expect or stuff like that, because the value you get from that journey, I think it's much higher than the any percentage that you can get in mind. And again, as you are in the journey itself before you get the credential, the value or how efficient you become to everyone you interact with, if that's an employer or a team member or a manager or a client, will start to appear anyway. And that will definitely translate, if it's not immediately, after you become a certified technical architect, it definitely on the road it will. But I do not see it as a number. I'm not sure about the guys, if their bank account's happier than mine.
And again, that depends on the companies as well, Daniel, right? There is not every company is same, right? Some company may have CTA priority, some company may not have. Okay. So depending which company you are and how much push they are doing for the CTA, answer would